going to be here. So you two can start to set yourselves up. And let's start on our backs again. So go ahead and come onto your back. I'm not going to go through any of the stuff I usually say because I was just talking to Jackie. I think there's like 40 classes I have recorded and they're probably all me saying the exact same thing. So you know it by now. Just go ahead and start to settle in, taking a couple deep breaths, closing your eyes, and just slowing down. Starting to think about why you came to your mat today. For some people, that's the same reason every single time. I go to my weekly yoga class because that's my chance to X, Y, and Z. That's when I stretch. That's when I relax. That's when I slow down. Some people have that consistent reason for showing up. For other people, it's different depending on the day. Some days you might be here for the mental side of it, that peace and clarity and relaxation that comes from it. And then other days you're like, I just need to move and work out some of this extra stress or whatever it is you have going on. So decide why it is you're here today. And then try to allow your practice to fill that need, fill whatever that reason is. So as you set that intention for yourself, go ahead and take 1 or 2 more deep breaths, maybe even bringing your hand to your heart and your stomach and just feeling the body moving as you're breathing, feeling that expansion as you inhale, and contracting as you exhale. And then as you take your next breath, start to find that full body stretch, beginning to reach the arms up over your head, stretching out those legs, stretching out the arms, doing all the things that feel good, that little chance to start to wake the body up, especially if you've been sitting a lot today, then maybe this is your first chance to really stretch. On the next breath, let's draw those knees in towards us, wrapping your arms around your shins, giving yourself a little hug. You can rock from side to side. You can make circles. You can stay still. Maybe you're still just enjoying the fact that there's nothing to do for the next hour except breathe, and you're just kind of soaking in that stillness for a little longer. So do that. Keep your eyes closed. Press that spine into the mat. And we're going to take an early twist. Go ahead and extend your arms wide to either side. Let your knees release over to the right side. Usually we do this at the end of class as a way of settling into our Shavasana. But go ahead and take that twist now. And notice if it feels any different. You might notice that, ooh, I feel a little stiffer than I usually do when I'm here. You might notice your spine, maybe it cracks a little bit, and that doesn't usually happen. There's a difference between doing a pose at the beginning and the end of class. Maybe you don't notice a difference at all, and that's okay too. On the next breath, let's start to take that twist over to the other side. So bringing those knees back to center and then over to the left side. Pressing those shoulders down into the mat. And then on the next inhale, start to come back to center with those legs, drawing the knees back in towards you as you wrap your arms behind those thighs or in front of your shins so that you can start to rock yourself up to the seated position. Go ahead and find that seat with your legs crossed, sitting up nice and tall. Rock it out from side to side a little bit so that you're rounding down to the tailbone, lengthening the spine, relaxing the shoulders. Even when we're not doing much, like we're just sitting here, you're still doing a lot. Your core is engaged, your spine is lengthened, your shoulders are pressing down and back, your chin is lifting up. We're working on that posture and that breath. And the more time you spend sitting like this or breathing like that or working on that posture, the easier it becomes to tap into that throughout the rest of your day. So you might notice all of a sudden you're sitting at your desk and you start to sit up a little straighter because it starts to feel more natural to sit like that rather than however it was you were sitting before. So let's take a deep breath in, reach the arms up overhead, start to take a side stretch to the right by bringing the right hand to the mat, leaning to the right side, press that left shoulder back so you can look under the right arm, or the left arm, sorry, look up towards the sky under that left arm. And then we'll lift it all the way back through center. Go ahead and bring the left hand to the side of the body. Lean to the left side, stretch to the right side. Inhale as you lift it back up through center. Turn to the right. We're going to come into another twist. So the right hand comes behind the body. The left arm comes to the right knee. Take a breath in as you sit up nice and tall. As you exhale, start to twist to the right. So you're pressing that left hand into the knee, sort of drawing yourself to the right, looking over that right shoulder. And then let's lift those arms back up as you come back to the center and take it over to the left. So the left hand is behind you, the right hand is on that left knee. Inhale for length. Exhale as you twist. Use that hand on the knee to press yourself into a deeper twist. And again, inhale all the way back through center. Reach those arms up. And then you can let those hands rest back in your lap. Let's bring the soles of the feet together for a butterfly. Interlacing your hands. On an inhale, the spine lengthens. On an exhale, you'll fold it forward. Pressing the elbows into the shins, drawing the chest towards the toes. Lengthening on each inhale. Folding on each exhale. And then slowly lifting back up through center, let's come to a wide-legged seated position. So making that V shape with the legs, go ahead and extend them out to either side. You can kind of rock on your hips a little bit as you sort of settle yourself in, flexing through the feet. So your toes are pointed up towards the ceiling or back towards your face, sort of towards your face. And then let's interlace our hands, start to circle the upper body. So making that motion like you're stirring something or kind of moving the upper body. It doesn't have to necessarily be a circle. It could be a side to side or a twist or any random shape. Just allowing that upper body to start to move a couple times in each direction. On the next inhale, lift it back up through center. Those arms will lift up with you. On the exhale, we'll fold it forward. Starting to walk those hands away from the body. Take another breath in for length, maybe sitting up a little bit flat back. And then on the exhale, fold it forward. Keep flexing those feet, pointing those toes up towards the sky. Let's do it again. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold a little bit further forward. And slowly walking those hands to the right side. So kind of bringing both hands to the right. So you're folding over that right leg. Let's bring our right hand to our shin or your foot, wherever it feels comfortable. And on an inhale, the left arm is going to lift right up towards the ceiling. So you're getting that little twist there, pressing the left shoulder back, looking up towards that left hand. And then let's take that left hand and start to reach it to the right side. So we were lifting up before. Now you're kind of stretching to the right so that you're getting an even deeper stretch on the left side of the body. Press that left shoulder back. Reach those fingertips, almost like you're trying to get that left hand to pass beyond the right foot, even though it most likely isn't, but it's working in that direction. And then on the next inhale, that left arm is going to lift back up, right up towards the sky. And on the exhale, both hands come back to that right leg. Just fold back over that right leg. And we'll start to walk it all the way through center and then to the left side. So making your way over to the left. Left hand comes to the shin. As you inhale, the right arm lifts up towards the sky. Press that right shoulder back. Take your knees towards that right hand. And then we'll start to take that little side bend again by reaching the right fingertips as if they're trying to go in front of or beyond the left toes. Still pressing that right shoulder back so that you can look under that right arm, getting that nice long stretch on the right side of the body. And then on the next inhale, right arm lifts up. On the exhale, fold over that right leg or left leg. Lefts and rights are hard today, apparently. And then we'll walk those hands back through center and slowly come back up to a seated position. You can take your hands and sort of press those legs back together, tap the back of the legs on the mat, wiggle your feet from side to side. You should feel a little more loose after sitting like that for a while. And then let's find our tabletop position. So go ahead and turn over onto your hands and your knees as you start to move through a couple rounds of your cat and cow. So the back is flat to begin with, and then on the inhale, the stomach presses down, the gaze goes up. On the exhale, the back rounds, press the ground away from you, and then do whatever it is that you like to do when you're here in this pose, whether it's rocking those hips from side to side, shaking the head a little bit, moving the shoulders, make circles, go side to side, go up and down, whatever. And as you start to come back through center, let's find our downward facing dog, tucking those toes, straightening those legs, send those hips up and back as you continue to move here. So we were on our knees moving a little bit. Now you're in your downward facing dog, continuing that movement. Shake your head out a little bit, move the shoulders, move the feet. Let's start to walk our hands to the back of the mat, finding a forward fold at the back of your mat. And take any forward fold that you like. I won't give you a suggestion. You just do whatever it is that feels good for you. Letting that upper body hang, almost like it's a rag doll. On the next inhale, let's slowly start to lift it all the way back up. Reach those arms up overhead. Come to standing. Take that little back bend. And then find those cactus arms where your elbows are kind of bent out to either side. Take a breath in as you kind of open up through the heart, open up through the chest. Bring your hands together, your elbows together. Right elbow is going to come on top of the left, backs of your hands together, or give yourself that hug with opposite shoulders. Take a breath in as you lift up through the upper body. As you exhale, fold it forward. Visualize that space between your shoulder blades. You're kind of drawing your shoulders away from each other, and that's creating that opening, that space, that extra room for you to breathe into. So take a breath or two here. And then you can go ahead and release your hands down to the mat. We're going to walk it out to our plank position. So go ahead and start to walk those fingers to the top of your mat. Settling into your plank as you tuck your tailbone, engage your core. Find that strength here. And then coming onto your knees, we're going to lower it all the way down onto our stomach. So slowly with control, hugging those elbows in towards you. On the next inhale, find that baby cobra. Upper body lifts, hands lift, maybe 2-3 inches off the mat. That's it. And then back to your downward facing dog by pressing those hands into the mat, tucking those toes, straightening those legs as you send those hips up and back. 2 more breaths here. Again, we're going to start to walk those hands back towards the feet. So go ahead and find that forward fold just like you did before. Maybe taking a different version of a forward fold this time. Maybe holding onto opposite elbows, hand behind the head, knees bent, whatever. Take 2 breaths just like that. And then we're going to slowly start to peel that spine back up, reaching those arms up overhead. Again, bringing your elbows out to cactus arms on either side of you. Take a big breath in, puff up the heart, puff up the chest, and then bring the elbows and the hands back in front of your face. This time, the left elbow is coming on top of the right. So you're already feeling the shoulder blades sort of drawing away from each other. If you took that hug on the other side, go ahead and give yourself that hug again. And then wherever you are, you're going to lift up on the inhale. And on the exhale, fold it forward one more time, pressing either your fingertips down towards the mat or pressing your elbows down towards the mat. So whichever version you're in, pressing it down to create Keep that space between the shoulder blades. And then go ahead and release your hands as you start to walk it back out to your plank, bringing the hands to the mat and then slowly walking them all the way to the top of your mat. Take your time as you settle in here, engage that core, tuck that tailbone, feel that length. And then you can bring your knees onto the mat as you start to lower yourself all the way down onto your stomach. This time you have the choice. Take another baby cobra or press your hands into the mat and lift it up a little higher. Take a breath here as you breathe into that space in the front of the body. And then as you exhale, you can start to lower yourself back onto the mat and then press it back to your downward facing dog. Toes tuck, the knees bend at first, and then those legs straighten as your heels start to press down towards the mat. And this time we're going to walk it up to the top of the mat. So go ahead and look towards your hands. Start to walk those feet forward, coming to your forward fold at the top of the mat this time. We're going to bring our hands to our shins. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale as you lift it all the way up. Reach those arms up overhead. Take that little back bend and then fold it forward again as you exhale all the way back down. Inhale as you lift up halfway. Exhale as you fold. Inhale as you lift all the way up. Reach those arms up overhead. This time, interlace your hands. Press your palms up towards the sky. Relax your shoulders. Maybe your feet step a little closer together so we can take that side stretch. So getting length on the inhale and then on the exhale, take it to the left side. Press that right shoulder forward. Or press the right shoulder back. The left shoulder is drawing forward so that you're looking up towards the ceiling. And then on the next inhale, you'll lift it all the way up. Exhale over to the right side. Press the left shoulder back. Press the right shoulder forward. And inhale as you come back up through center. As you exhale, dive it back down. Forward fold. Putting a little bend in your knees so that you can bring your hands to the mat. That left foot is stepping back so that we can come into a low lunge. So step that left foot all the way to the back of your mat. Hands are framing out the right foot. Let's keep the left foot on the left hand on the mat. And you're gonna lift up your right arm coming into that twist. So the left hand is down, the right arm is up, looking up towards that right hand. And slowly bringing that right hand back down to the mat. Left knee comes down, untuck those toes. Exhale, send it back, fold over that right leg so we can start to warm up those hips. On the next inhale, press the hips forward, lift up through the upper body. Exhale as you send it back. Couple more times, moving the way that you like to move when you're in this little warm-up. So whether that means using blocks to put your hands on, or maybe it means pausing and not moving as much. Do whatever it is you like to do, whatever helps those hips warm up. The next time you come forward, we'll start to find that Unjanayasana or Crescent Lunge pose where your hands are coming onto your knees or maybe reaching up towards the ceiling with the shoulders relaxed, opening up through the heart, the throat, the whole front of the body as you press that left hip down towards the mat. And slowly bringing your hands back to frame out that right foot. Let's tuck that back foot. Straighten that left leg. So you're in that low lunge one more time. As you start to step it back up to a forward fold, your left foot is going to come up to meet your right. Hands come to shins as you inhale to that flat back. As you exhale, fold. On the next inhale, lift it all the way up. Reach those arms up overhead, little back bend. And exhale as you dive it right back down, forward fold. Putting that little bend in the knees so that the right foot can step to the back of the mat. Coming into that low lunge. with the left leg forward. We're going to place that right hand on the mat. So your left foot and your right hand are kind of in a line with each other. And then as you exhale, the left arm peels up towards the sky, coming into that twist. Left shoulder presses back, eyes come towards that left hand. Imagine there's a string drawing that left hand right up towards the ceiling. And you can bring that left hand back down to the mat. Right knee comes down as you exhale. Press those hips back. Hold over that straightened left leg. And start to move here. Press the hips forward, lift it up. Exhale, send it back. Couple more times, just like that. The next time you come forward, starting to pause there, pressing those hips down, getting as low as you can on the lower half of your body, and then starting to lift up through the upper half of your body, hands to the knee, or hands up towards the sky. Open heart, open chest, open throat. Smiling as you gaze up towards the sky. And those hands can come back down to frame out that left foot. Up that back toe as you straighten that back leg back to your low lunge, and we're stepping it up to a forward fold. So as always, that can be a giant step, that can be a couple steps. However you get back to that forward fold, bring your hands to your shins. Once you're there, inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale as you fold a little deeper. Inhale as you lift it all the way up, reach those arms up overhead, take that little back bend. As you exhale, sit back into your chair pose. Relax the shoulders, weight is in the heels. Start to sink down those hips a little lower. And bring our hands to heart center. And then you're just gonna twist to the right. Think about keeping everything from your hips down exactly where it is. And then the upper half of your body is just twisting. So almost think about trying to bring the left elbow towards the right knee. It doesn't have to come all the way down to the right knee. You're sort of twisting in that direction so that the right elbow is kind of up towards the sky. You're looking up towards that right elbow. On the next inhale, straighten out the legs, reach the arms back up overhead. As you exhale, sit back into that chair one last time. The shoulders are relaxed. The knees are super glued together, so one knee isn't in front of the other. They're staying together. Hands come to heart center. This time, the upper body is twisting to the left. So that left elbow is kind of going up towards the sky. The right elbow is coming down a little bit. See if you can bring that right elbow towards the left knee. Again, on the next inhale, straighten it out. Straighten those legs, reach those arms up overhead. If you're not at the top of your mat, go ahead and step back to the top of your mat. You can bring those hands to the sides of the body as we step the left foot back, coming into our warrior one. So the left foot is at a 45-degree angle. Your hips are facing forward. That right foot is facing forward. We'll take a breath in to reach the arms back up overhead. And then you'll exhale, bending into that right knee, relaxing the shoulders, pressing down to the outer edge of that left foot. See if you can bend into that right knee even more while keeping the knee above the ankle, so not in front of the ankle. 2 more breaths, just like this. And go ahead and straighten that right leg. And we're just going to take it to the opposite side. So kind of pivoting on those feet so that the left foot is facing the back of your mat. The right foot is at a 45-degree angle. Take that breath in as you lift the arms up overhead. Exhale as you bend into that left knee, relax the shoulders. Take your gaze up towards those hands. So maybe you take a moment to sort of settle yourself in, but then once you're there, go ahead, take that gaze up, sink those hips down, relax those shoulders. And then go ahead and straighten that left leg. Turn to face the side of your mat. You can bring your hands to the sides of the body and just go ahead and step your feet back together, coming back to a normal stance. We're going to find a tree pose. Yeah, let's do a tree pose. I had to think about that. Let's let our left foot be our standing foot. Our right foot is coming to our inner ankle. Your hands come to heart center. So the left foot is the standing foot. You can stay right here, or you know what kind of add-ons you like to do with your tree pose by now. So if you like to lift that left or that right foot up a little bit more, go ahead and lift that right leg up. Maybe the hands come overhead. Maybe you open the arms up. Maybe you stay right here. 3 more breaths wherever you are. You can be moving if that feels fun or if that helps you, or you can find that shape you like and try to stay still right there. And let's all start to bring our hands back to heart center if they weren't there already. Right foot comes back to the mat. Shake it out. Do whatever feels good. Maybe rock those arms from side to side. Give it a little twist, a little forward fold if that feels good. And then we'll take it over to the other side by bringing that left foot to the right inner ankle. Hands come to heart center to start. And then again, finding that pose that you like, whether that's lifting the left foot up your leg a little more, hands lifting up overhead, or expanding wide. Find that focal point that you're looking at. So something to hold your gaze. Even just pressing your hands together can help a little bit with balance. If you feel wobbly, sort of pressing those hands together can sometimes give you an extra little second to hold on a little longer. And then those hands can start to come back through heart center if they weren't already. That left foot comes down, shake out the standing leg, shake out the arms, the shoulders, whatever feels good. As you start to make your way back to the top of the mat, if you weren't there already, with the next inhale, the arms are going to lift up overhead. With the exhale, you'll fold it forward, putting a bend in those knees so that you can start to step it back to a plank position. Go ahead and walk your feet to the back of your mat, finding your plank position. From your plank, your knees come down as you start to lower yourself all the way onto your stomach. On the next inhale, you'll lift it up into that cobra of your choice. So whichever cobra you want, lifting up through the upper body. And then starting to lower yourself back down as you make your way back to that downward facing dog, pressing hips up and back, tucking toes, straightening your legs. 3 breaths from your downward facing dog. So once you get to that down dog, go ahead and count those 3 breaths. Maybe you're looking towards your thighs or your shins. And now turning the gaze back towards your hands so that you can start to walk back to the top of your mat, coming to that forward fold with the hands on the shins. Take a breath in, halfway lift. Exhale as you fold. On the next inhale, lift it all the way back up. Reach those arms up overhead. Exhale, we're going to dive it right back down, forward fold. Put a little bend in those knees as you bring your hands to the mat. We're stepping it back to a low lunge again. So the left foot steps back, just like we did before, setting up for that low lunge. We're going to come right into our Anjaneyasana this time. So the left knee is coming down. You're untucking those left toes, lifting up through the upper body. Maybe coming a little deeper into it than you did before, just because you're a little more open, you're a little more warmed up. Maybe last time you had your hands on your knee, this time you're reaching them up overhead. Maybe it feels about the same. That's okay too. And then we're going to slowly start to bring those hands back to frame out that right foot. Tuck the left toes, straighten that back leg. We're going to come into a wide-legged fold. So you're going to start to walk your hands over to the left side. Spin both feet so that they're facing the left side of your mat. And then start to fold over into that forward fold, that wide-legged fold, whatever feels comfortable for you. Holding on to opposite elbows, holding on to opposite legs, bending, moving, or staying still. Take about 3 breaths. So we're going to start to walk our hands over to the right foot. We're coming back to that low lunge, I guess. Yeah, kind of coming back to that low lunge. So facing the top of your mat. But the reason I hesitated is we're stepping right into our pyramid pose. So from here, the left foot is going to step up 2 or 3 feet. So it's kind of at the center of your mat, that left foot. The right foot is at the top of your mat still. Take that breath in, maybe even lifting up through the back as you inhale. As you exhale, fold over that right leg. If the ground feels really far away here, I always mention you can use blocks. If you don't have blocks, I know I talk about using a chair, but you can basically just have your hands on a chair if that helps kind of bring the ground a little closer to you. So your hands might be framing out that right foot. They might also be on the seat of a chair. That right knee can be bent a little bit, but we want to try to have our hips squared. So if you feel like your right hip is forward and your left hip is back, try to dial that left hip so that they're in a straight line and one isn't in front of the other. Make sure you can slide it away. And then we're going to step it back up to our forward fold. So the left foot comes back up to meet the right. Take that halfway lift as you inhale. As you exhale, fold it forward. And then inhale to lift it all the way up. Reach those arms up overhead. Take that little back bend. As we exhale, we're taking it right back down, forward folds. Putting a little bend in the knees so that we can take that sequence on the other side by stepping the right foot back this time. Left foot is staying forward as you come to that low lunge with the left leg at the top of the mat, the right foot at the back of the mat. Right knee comes down, untuck those toes so that you can lift up the upper body into that crescent lunge. So pressing up through the upper body, maybe reaching those arms overhead. Think about that right hip pressing down. Think about that space that you're creating in those hips. That's really what we want to focus on here, getting into those hips and then opening up through the front of the body as well. Slowly bringing those hands back to frame out the left foot. We're going to take that wide-legged forward fold again, or really side fold to the side of the mat. So the right foot straightens, those right toes tuck. This time we're walking our hands over to the right side, straightening those legs. You kind of pivot on your feet a little bit so you're facing the side of your mat. And just like you did on the other side, do whatever it is that feels good for you. Bending those knees, rocking from side to side, walking the hands from one leg to another. Maybe even a twist where you lift one arm up and then the other arm. 2 or 3 more breaths, just like that. And now we're going to start to walk those hands over to that left foot as we prepare for our pyramid pose again. So the hands start to walk to the left as you spin on the toes. Left foot is in the front, right foot is in the back. And then that right foot is going to step up about halfway. Take that inhale, nice flat back. Exhale as you fold over that left leg, maybe using blocks, maybe using a chair. Maybe you have your little fingertips with your peace fingers on the mat. Little bend in that left knee, that helps. And then start to dial that right hip forward as you fold over that left leg. One more time, we'll step it back up to a forward fold, bringing that right foot up to meet the left. Inhale, nice flat back. Exhale as you fold. Inhale as you reach the arms all the way up overhead. As you exhale, dive it right back down, forward fold. Bringing your hands to the mat so that we can step it back to a plank position. Walking your feet to the back of the mat, maybe a down dog first, and then sort of rolling it out into your plank however you like to get there. Your knees can come to the mat as you lower yourself all the way onto your stomach. Inhale as you press up through the upper body for that cobra. Exhale back to your downward facing dog. Tuck your toes, straighten your legs, bend your hips up and back. 2 breaths here in your downward facing dog. And we're going to come back onto our knees. So slowly starting to lower those knees down onto the mat. Take a couple rounds of your cat and cow, or even you can sit back and roll out your wrists if you need, whatever you need to do to take kind of a minute to yourself, even if that's grab a sip of water or a little child's pose for a breath. Just go ahead and kind of take a moment to do whatever it is that you need to do for a moment. As you start to settle back in, finding that nice flat back, we're going to extend the right leg long. Straighten that right leg, reach the foot behind you, and then take that breath in, draw the knee to the nose, round the back. Exhale, extend it long. 2 more times, just like that. Inhale, knee to nose, round the back. Exhale, extend it long. Inhale, knee to nose, around your back. Exhale, extend it long. Let's find a modified side plank. So the left foot is sliding off your mat, making that little kickstand. The inner arch of the right foot is coming down. And then that right arm is going to reach up overhead. So like you're trying to reach over the top of your mat, stretching the whole right side of your body. You have an option here if you want to take it into a traditional side plank rather than a modified side plank. You can straighten that left leg if you want to give it a shot. Reach the right arm up overhead. That can help with balance. Or keep that left leg down. Either way, wherever you are, you're pressing those hips up towards the sky, getting that nice stretch on the right side of the body. And then let's start to close it off, coming back to that tabletop. So the right hand comes down, the right knee comes down. You can kind of take a couple rounds of your cat and cow as you reset. And then we're going to extend the left leg. So that left leg extends long. Take a breath in as you draw the knee to the nose, round the back. Exhale, lengthen. Inhale, knee to nose, round your back. Exhale, lengthen. One more time, knee to nose. Exhale, extend. Side plank on the other side. So your right foot becomes your kickstand. It's the top of your right foot that's kind of pressing into the mat. The inner arch of the left foot comes down. Left fingertips start to reach overhead. Press that left shoulder back. Lengthen the whole left side of the body. Option to stay right here, or if you wanted to try to come into the full side plank, right leg can straighten. Left arm can come up overhead. Or keep that right knee down, or maybe try a combination. Maybe straighten the leg for a breath and then bring it down if that feels like enough. And we'll all start to come back into our tabletop. So the left hand comes down to the mat, left knee comes down to the mat. Go ahead and take a couple rounds of your cat and cow. And let's take one more little flow before we start to slow it down. So you can tuck your toes. Find your downward facing dog, straighten those legs, send those hips up and back. Start to roll it out into your plank. Tuck that tailbone, engage that core. Knees come down to the mat, lowering yourself all the way onto your stomach. Inhale as you press up through that upper body. Exhale back to your tabletop this time. So just coming back to that tabletop, just as a transition, and then we're going to come back to a seated position. So from your tabletop, you can go ahead and start to lower yourself all the way back down onto your mat with your legs extended long in front of you, flexing through those feet as you start to kind of rock from side to side on your hips, settling in, making that L shape with your body as best you can. Flat back, flat legs. Inhale, the arms lift up. Exhale as you fold over your legs. Your legs don't have to stay straight. Mine are bent, yours can be bent too. as you just fold over those legs, maybe grabbing your big toes or your feet or your shins, whatever feels comfortable here. Take a breath for length as you inhale, flat back. As you exhale, fold it forward. Do that again. Inhale, flat back. Exhale as you fold it forward, and then just settle in here. On the next inhale, you'll start to lift it back up, coming back to a seated position. We're going to do our pigeon pose from our seat today. So the right foot is coming to the top of the left knee, making that upside down figure four, almost like a tree pose, kind of a seated tree pose. Hands are at the sides of your body. And then, as always, if you're feeling this stretch in the right hip, stay right here. Put a little pressure on it if that feels okay. Pressing that right hip down gently, really gently. Or you can place that left foot on the mat and start to slide those hips towards the left foot. Flexing through the right foot. Maybe your eyes close. Maybe your hips rock from side to side. Maybe you stay still. If that left leg was bent, you can start to slide that left foot back down onto the mat. Let the right foot come to the outside of the left knee. So the right foot is crossed over. So we can come into our twist with the right hand at the side of the body. On an inhale, that left arm lifts up. On an exhale, twist it over to the right, pressing the left elbow into the right knee. Or you can also wrap your arm around that right knee if that feels more comfortable. But the idea is that you're twisting through the upper body. So sitting up nice and tall, twisting over to the right. Let's take it back through center as we start to twist over to the left. You can bring your hands to the mat and sort of unravel that spine or press your right elbow into the knee. And again, coming back through center, extend both legs long, tap out those legs. Left foot will then come to the right knee. Take your time as you set yourself up here. So flexing that left foot. We're actually flexing both feet. The right foot is flexed too for now. Kind of rock out those hips a little bit as you start to settle in, bringing the hands to the sides of the body. And then check in with yourself. If this is good for that hip, if this is what that hip needs to work on right now, you're going to stay here. If you want that right foot on the mat, go ahead and press that right foot down into the mat, continuing to flex that left foot and just kind of adjusting until you find that spot that gives you the stretch that's just right for you. We'll start to slide that right foot back down onto the mat if it was straight or if it was bent. We'll take that left foot to the outside of the right knee, left hand to the side of the body as you inhale, right arm up. As you exhale, twist it to the left, hooking that elbow on the outside of the knee. Take a breath as you sit up nice and tall. Exhale as you twist a little further. And we'll take that twist over to the right side, unraveling it all. Let it go. Imagine that spine is like a coil and you're wringing it out, or almost like a towel that you're wringing out. I'm going to go in both directions. And then come back through center, extend those legs long, tap them out on the back of the mat one more time. And then we're going to start to take it all the way down. So go ahead and
grab a sip of water, grab whatever you want to grab before you start to come onto your back. And then when you're ready, you'll go ahead and start to lower yourself all the way down. Engage that core. Use those core muscles. Lower yourself all the way onto your back. Take that big full body stretch once you get there. Big inhale in through the nose. Big exhale out through the mouth as you bring your hands to the sides of your body so that we can start to come into our bridge pose by bending those knees, bringing the feet to the base of the spine. On the next inhale, hips will start to press up towards the sky. Hands can stay where they are, or they'll interlace under the tailbone, wiggling those shoulder blades under the body so you can press those hips up even higher as your chin tucks in towards your chest. If you have the hands interlaced, think about pressing the palms towards each other. They might not be touching, but you want to work on getting them in that direction. We're going to do 2 of these. So slowly start to peel your spine back down onto the mat, 1 vertebrae at a time. Once your tailbone touches, your knees can rock from side to side. And when you're ready, you'll make your way into your second back bend. It might be exactly like the first one. Maybe if you have a block and you want a supported bridge, you slide a block under those hips, you decide. But when you're ready, you'll start to make your way into that second back bend, pressing those hips up, either sliding that block under or maybe interlacing the hands under. 3 breaths here as you press those hips up a little higher, allow that spine to bend. And again, 1 vertebrae at a time, start to peel the spine back down onto the mat. Once your tailbone touches, those knees rock it out from side to side. And let's hug our knees in towards us as you start to think about what inversion you're going to come into. So you can come into that legs up the wall with or without the wall. You can also come into a shoulder stand if it's in your practice. I'm not sure who likes to do shoulder stand, but for your shoulder stand, you're basically walking your hands down your back. So that's something we could talk about now or another time. So basically finding any inversion that feels comfortable for you, using the wall, not using the wall. If you're not using the wall, maybe your hands are behind your legs or you're sitting on your hands. Basically taking the next 5 to 7 breaths to get those feet up in the air one way or another. Eyes can be closed. Breath starts to slow down or really starts to just kind of move in a way that feels comfortable for you. So not necessarily paying attention to the breath, but just letting the breath kind of do what it does. And we'll start to draw those knees back in towards the body, wrapping your arms around your shin one more time. We're going to take a fish pose by extending your legs long. Your arms are at the sides of the body. You're pressing your forearms into the mat. You're kind of lifting up from your upper body, pressing the chest and the heart up towards the sky. So you're kind of puffing up to the upper body. If it feels okay, let your head release back. If that doesn't feel good on your neck, just keep looking forward, but focus on that opening in the chest and shoulder area. And then slowly lowering yourself all the way back down onto the mat. One last time, those knees will draw in towards you so that we can take that clean twist that we started with, bringing the knees over to the right side, extending your arms long, or maybe even having those arms in cactus arms. Your eyes can start to close at this point if you like. And now you can really compare how you felt in this twist at the beginning of class versus how you feel in it now. See if anything feels different.
And then just acknowledging it. So not necessarily judging it if you feel more tired now, or maybe you're sore or you were stiff before, whatever you notice, just acknowledging it without attaching an emotion to it. On the next breath, let's start to bring our knees back through center and over to the left side. So the knees are coming to the left. Maybe you're turning your gaze towards the right or keeping it up towards the ceiling. And again, start to bring those knees back through center, keeping the soles of the feet together as you let your knees release out to either side, hands coming to the inside of your thighs or to your stomach. Just taking about 2 or 3 breaths here. You start to melt into your mat a little bit. Feel the shoulders beginning to relax. Feel the hips relaxing. And then starting to think about where you're going for your final pose tonight. So maybe it's right here. Maybe it's straightening the legs. Maybe it's coming back to the seated position. So go ahead and start to make your way into that pose if you want. Maybe you want to keep that little reclined butterfly for a couple more breaths and then eventually come into your Shavasana. That's fine as well. But just starting to settle into this final space of your practice tonight, letting those eyes close, letting the body start to relax. The shoulders melting away from the ears, the head releasing back into the mat if you're lying down. That spine long and straight, supporting your body. As you just give yourself the gift of these next few moments to just enjoy a little more stillness, a little more quiet here on your mat in Shavasana. Slowly starting to come back to the room, beginning with your breath. Then those tiny movements with your hands and your feet. Eventually turning those into bigger movements, a full body stretch or bending the knees. From there, you can start to turn over onto your right side, bent knees, head resting on the arm. Taking these last few moments on your mat before you get up and go back into the rest of your day, into the long weekend ahead of you. Just say thank you to yourself for that continued commitment to you, doing something that's so good for you and taking care of yourself. When you're ready, you can start to make your way back up to a seated position, pressing your hands into the mat, bringing yourself back upright. Hands come to heart center. And I thank you all for joining me tonight with that light and that energy that you always bring with you and share with us. Have a beautiful night, a beautiful long weekend, and I'll see you next Thursday.